So आज का जो CC Friday है, I think this is going to be very very interesting. Two very unique concepts that Shireen and Nidhi will be presenting. तो आपको ये देख करके बहुत मज़ा भी आएगा एंड आपको बहुत प्राउड भी फील होगा कि भाई इस टाइप का कुछ हम स्कूल में कर रहे हैं. And both of them have been change makers to एकदम ही नॉवल और यूनिक आइडियाज थे जिसको शिरीन और निधि ने इम्प्लीमेंट किया है. एंड जो ये एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का प्रोग्राम है वो इन द कमिंग ईयर वी आर. Okay, okay. So yeah, so I'm talking about two very unique concepts that Nidhi and Shireen are going to be presenting today. One is on entrepreneurship and the second is vocational training बोल सकते हैं, bagless days बोल सकते हैं. एंड सो वो आप देखेंगे कैसे दोनों लोगों ने उसको इम्प्लीमेंट किया, कैसे उस पर वर्क किया. आपको देख करके आई एम श्योर मज़ा भी आएगा एंड यू विल ऑल्सो फील प्राउड अबाउट द वर्क दैट दे हैव डन. We are also looking to expand the work on entrepreneurship in the coming year ताकि ज़्यादा बच्चों को ये एक्सपोजर मिले. मुझे भी लास्ट ईयर एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में बच्चों के साथ बहुत सारी चर्चाएं मैंने करी, तो उसमें भी मुझे बहुत यूनिक आइडियाज़ आए, बहुत ही वेरीड आइडियाज़ बच्चों की तरफ से आए जो आई एम श्योर निधि विल शेयर टुडे. और आपको भी देख करके बहुत मज़ा आएगा. So, okay, quickly over to Nidhi and Shireen for today's presentation. Pushpi ma'am, Mukesh sir, Anupama ma'am, are you there? Would you like to give anything? Would you like to share your take on bagless days or entrepreneurship before I pass it on to Nidhi and Shireen? Okay, I think so. We're busy in the planning phase right now for the next year. So, okay, Nidhi and Shireen, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so over to you guys. Ashwini, you can read your ground rules before, yeah.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'll reshare my screen again. Welcome to the 68th episode of CC Friday. I'll just quickly read out the ground rules for CC Friday. First is be attentive throughout the session. Keep your camera on whenever possible. At the end of the session, you will be asked a couple of questions through a feedback form. I'll be sharing a feedback form. Credits will be given on the basis of feedback form only. Asking questions using Q&A will be appreciated. You can ask anonymously or by your name. Wheel of names will be used to give a star and a wish. And yes, this session is not compulsory for all. If you have any issues or you're not able to join the session, you can mail back to me. Thank you so much. Over to you, Shireen ma'am.
Okay, join everybody. So, before we begin with, I would like to start with mindfulness. I request Nidhi ma'am to invite the bell. Okay, good evening, everyone. So today's topic is about two most important things that everybody is nowadays talking about: vocational training and entrepreneurship. So me and my colleague Nidhi Thakkar are going to take you through our journey of vocational training and entrepreneurship that we have, on a very smaller scale, we have started at DPS Nasik. So I'll just present my screen. Vocational education are basically, these programs are basically the courses that help students to acquire a specific skill or a specific function, which in future can become their occupation. Through these vocational training courses, they're actually acquiring the skills and becoming so proficient in these skills so that in future they are one step ahead when they go for some professional courses or some professional occupation. So the objective of vocational training courses is basically to empower our youth through the income generating skills and entrepreneurship. It is to provide them quality and most importantly to impart the technical knowledge. Our students are loaded with a lot of theoretical knowledge, but it is really very important to impart some technical vocational training courses. Vocational training has become the need of an hour, right? So, as we all know, we are providing our students with a lot of theoretical knowledge, but until and unless they get this practical learning experiences or hands-on learning experiences, they somewhere lack this confidence, right? So, through these courses, when they learn to do, or when they learn by doing, when they get these hands-on learning experiences, it really boosts their confidence. And this is something we have experienced while conducting these courses at school. It is very important for us to transfer these practical skills to generate better professionals. Improvement of skills. Now, when we talk about improvement of skills, it is not just the skills of handling a particular tool or a particular object or particular software in terms of the technical courses, but it is also the skills of working with people, working in teams, dealing with people, dealing with variety of problems that they face during learning. Because as all of us know, it never happens the way we plan. We put in a lot of efforts in our lesson plannings, but we know when we try to implement that in class, there are a lot of challenges that we face, and then our presence of mind, or then the kind of things that we learn in class are absolutely different than the ones we have planned during the lesson plannings. So this experience, when these courses were being conducted, our students also have gone through these experiences, and which has been proved to be very, very fruitful for them. Last but not the least, dignity of work. Very true. Um, I'll just share my experience when we planned for variety of courses. We had, digital marketing, 3D prototyping, carpentry, gardening. So we got a lot of responses when we, flowed the Google Forms. We got a lot of responses for 3D prototyping, digital marketing, or web designing kind of courses. But there was very few response for carpentry, gardening, or hotel management. If there was a response for hotel management, it was only girls. Or if it is for, if you say, fashion designing, it was only girls. Or the lot of responses were there for computer hardware and mobile hardware from boys. Last year, this was the case for last year, the the stereotype thing. But this year we could see a lot of change in the application, a lot of change in student responses. We had more number of boys in hotel management than girls, and a big number for computer hardware and mobile hardware from girls, right? So this stereotype I could see was broken during this year. But yes, dignity of work. There were some students who were wanting to go for computer hardware, or maybe for web designing or 3D prototyping, but due to limitation of seats, we couldn't offer the courses to all of them. But we had to then give them their second preferences, which were somewhere carpentry or gardening. But the mindset that these students had before joining the course and afterwards, when we took their reflections, were absolutely different than each other. Like, at the end, we could see they realized how important the carpenter's work. And definitely it was because they themselves experienced that, they themselves did it. So, they realized what kind of great skill a carpenter also needs, or how much effort does a farmer put in when a farmer, grows plants or grows crops, and how emotionally the farmer gets connected to these crops. So all these feelings the students experience, and I think this was much more important than just improving the skill of handling some tools. Emotionally connecting or having dignity of labor, and realizing that no work is small. So I think that was a great learning for our students and for all of us also. Now, when we are talking about vocational training or vocational education, we all know the national education policy is giving us a special emphasis on vocational education. Initially, maybe through integrating vocational education with other courses or other subjects, but also mainstreaming vocational education with general education, right? Because we have started realizing that this acquiring of these skills will only help us to meet the needs of the industries in future. And DPS Nasik, being one step ahead, has already begun with that. And 2 years back, we began with Bagless Week. Okay. The name itself is something that attracts students, Bagless, because it is very exciting for them to go Bagless for the whole week. No assignments, no lectures, no mathematics, no science, but now it was the time for them to apply their knowledge, whatever they've learned, in real life, in real situations which were given to them, and through Bagless Week. So, what exactly this Bagless Week was? It was a week full of learning. Now, though I said there were no lectures and no assignments and anything, but still there was a lot of learning. When these people, they worked in teams, they tried learning different skills, they handled variety of tools as per the requirement of courses. Definitely some challenges they faced, and they learned to overcome those challenges as well. So it was a complete week, 5 days planned for teaching and learning of those courses. And definitely each course was planned for an outcome, for a product to come out, right? So they were knowing where exactly they have to reach. Okay. So starting from the basics of the course and reaching to the production of some constructive product at the end was the journey for 1 week. And at the end, the finale day, the culmination day, where they presented, some courses were where they only learned the skills, so they presented their skill. Some courses were like they made some products, so they displayed their products during culmination. So we are going to go through all of this in short. So this is how the planning process was: selection of vocational courses and collaboration with institute. Very important. When definitely we can deliver the theoretical knowledge, but when it comes to the vocational course or learning of some skills, so industry experts play a very important role. So another very big task to collaborate with different institutes. Initially, it looked very difficult, but definitely when we started talking to these different institutes or industry experts, we realized that they are also looking for such collaborations where they can, publicize their institute, or where they can also interact with students, or not just their staff, but their students, who can get a chance to train somebody, whatever they've learned, right? So this was then we inform students through flyer. Each step we are going to see in detail. So industry experts, where to look for industry experts. So the staff and students of final year in institutes, sometimes it is difficult for them to spare the staff, so we can always ask for their final year students. For example, NIFT, we ask for the fashion designing final year students, and they definitely actually helped us throughout the course, throughout the week. They were there to guide our students. We can also look for parents, the school alumni. The photography team was led by one of our ex-student. Then school vendors, when it comes to carpentry, electrician, mechanical, we can always look for the school mechanic or school carpenter or school electrician. Then internal resources. Then we all know our teachers are very talented, not just in academics, but they have a lot of talent. So one out course, if we are finding difficulty, we can always approach our teachers. They are very talented, definitely. And we can also look for the support staff. because vocational course, as far as vocational courses are concerned, so I had a lot of people who were ready to help me out for embroidery or macrame and all. So introduction of the course was given through a flyer. I'll just show you how did the flyer look like. Okay, this is how the flyer was made, wherein each course was displayed in the form of picture, how, like whatever skills or tools we could show in the form of picture to, you know, ensure the student may get some idea of what exactly it is. And some courses also required some prerequisites, some material for students to get in, so we had mentioned the same in the flyer itself. So looking at the flyer, they got an idea what exactly they are going to learn. This something could also be done, you know, a week prior, interacting with students through assemblies and all. Then next, student entries. For getting student entries, because there were around 18 to 20 courses we had. So to get student entries, we had a Google form in which we had asked for 3 entries, you know, because there are these courses like digital marketing and web designing, jahan pe we require systems, computer systems, and they are limited, so we cannot really provide everybody their first preference. So we had asked for 3 preferences that they would like to go for. So if first preference is not available, we could give them the second or the third preference. After the students, they gave their preferences. Definitely we had to separate them, you know, course wise, right, to see how many of them are there for photography or hotel management. This one was the tedious task, where we had to, if they have applied, most of them have applied for similar course, then we had to look for the second or maybe third preferences. So that was one tedious task. Other than that, then we had allotted the courses to students. You know, first we had to segregate them class wise and then course wise, and then we tried our best to give them their first preference, if not a second or third. Now, this one is the important part, because if we are doing a particular course, like when we thought of delivering the lectures in class, we thought of lesson planning, right? So similarly, for these courses also, we had made lesson plans where the industry experts, along with the internal teacher who was supporting them, they made a lesson plan for each day. So it had you know, all information, like what exactly they are going to do on the day one, what all required material will be there, just like we make our lesson plans. And finally, for each day, what will be the outcome, right? Like for this is the lesson plan for hotel management, so they had mentioned what material would be required and what will be they preparing by the end of the day, what students will be learning. So such lesson plans were made for across all the courses, and we somewhere had an idea about what product we are going to get at the end, and that is how simultaneously we had started planning for culmination. Culmination may how they are going to represent. So there were variety of ideas we had how they are going to represent. So for execution of this plan, definitely material, machine, system, whatever we required. Then allotment of venues, each course has had to be allotted a venue as per the requirement, where electricity is required, where systems are required accordingly. Then teacher in charges, support teachers, then technical help, uh, then conduction of courses as per plan. I'll take you through the courses quickly. And one important thing, each moment of the course, of each course, was captured, so that during the informed stage we could, you know, put it on social media in the form of videos or images. And the daily task of students, so students were also excited that they're going to come on social media, they're going to be seen on Instagram or Facebook while doing or while learning these skills. So the very first was 3D prototyping. Now, during 3D prototyping, the students have used one instrument that they had not seen it earlier, the 3D printers. So initially, the students learned to design their own prototype, their own design, and they were guided by one of our teacher who is actually very very proficient in this, and they were also guided by an industry expert who had come for a day for the visit and guiding students. Our students also had visited the industry to see the actual prototyping process. So whatever designs or prototypes the student had made. During culmination, these students explained their journey of learning, explained the different prototypes they had made, and they also interacted with parents. They discussed about their designs and they presented their designs one by one to the audience during culmination. The other course that we had, fashion designing. During fashion designing, the students learn to design their t-shirts. They did not make or stitch something really big, but definitely during these 4 days, whatever their own clothes, they learn to design to make them new. You know, something new they created out of what they already had. So they painted their jeans, they painted their t-shirts. They learned about coffee painting during this course. They learned about making smaller embroideries on their jeans and their t-shirts to make it look more attractive, more fancy. And not just that, uh, but like I said, there were industry experts, there were fashion designing NIFD staff, and their final year students to guide our students. So not just for designing their clothes, but also for the presentation. They also guided our students how to present their work on stage. So through a fashion show, a small ramp walk, our students presented whatever they had created during this course. Another course was ceramic painting, where these students learn to decorate the ceramic pots and the paintings. So you can see here in pictures a lot of paintings they created, ceramic pots they painted, and they also had collaborated with one of the entrepreneurship company that our students have created in grade 7. Nidhi ma'am will be talking about the same. So they've collaborated with them for selling of their products also. This is something they got to know ki there are entrepreneurship, there are different companies. So whatever they are created, it could be sold through those companies. So they also collaborated with them. They during presentation, during culmination, they had a stage display and a live demo of ceramic painting on stage. The next was carpentry. So a lot of students were there for carpentry as well. Most of these students, like I said, it was the second preference, but once they got into it, they started enjoying the process, because hardly these tools they had, most of the tools they had not even seen earlier. So the process of hammering and then that joining and everything, it was an amazing experience. And I would like you to make a note of these students who are clicking pictures. These are actually our photography students. We had a photography team. They were learning professional photography from industry experts, the photographers. So they were all over the place, clicking photographs. They're trying to capture the candid pictures of all the students doing, work in their respective areas. Then the students presented through a small musical drama, and they also displayed the products. If you can see here in the picture, the second picture, they had created a rack for donation in one of the underprivileged schools. They had created some stools and standees. So a great job done by the students. And within these 5 days, they completed, starting from the basics, they have completed the work and they created the products actually. Then the next, where our beautiful girls were very much interested, the makeup course. And it was guided by an industry expert, a professional makeup artist. They learned some basic makeups, they learned party makeup, some, the eye makeup thing, and some dressing styles and hairstyles as well. During culmination, the students gave a live demo of doing that quick makeup within 2 minutes or 3 minutes. They, introduce it step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and they completed the makeup within a given span of time. So this is very, very useful for us. We generally, want to get ready within 2 minutes. Macrame, weaving of macrame thread was taught to the students, wherein they created sling bags, mobile covers, and wall hangings. So again, it was amazing to see them create such nice products in very small time of literally four days only. Hotel management. Now this was another very interesting course, and it was more interesting because it was actually guided by chefs. Each day, one new chef from hotel management and catering technology, MG Vidya Mandir's college, that HMCT college. These chefs had helped us. So all 4 days we had new chef and their final year students helping us. Here, right from cutting of the vegetable, the technique of cutting of vegetable, to the cleaning of the desk and setting up the dining table, these students learn all these culinary skills. They also learn making some interesting salads and some cookies. They represented in the form of small dance performance, but not just that, but on the culmination day the students had set up stalls. So we did not have our canteen that day, but we had the small little chefs setting up their stalls. Whatever they have learned during the culmination, during the vocational training course, they have represented in the form of setting up their stalls, and they also made profit out of it. Then we had kitchen gardening. This was again guided by farmers, and one of our guest speaker who has set up her own kitchen gardening and terrace gardening very well. So they learned right from preparation of soil to sowing of seeds to making composting, basic organic composting at home. They represented their learning in the form of they actually show the whole process of planting on stage, and some saplings that they have created, uh, the the pause using the reusing the plastic, plastic bottles and plastic containers. We had electrical course where our school electrician guided the students very well. They created their own extension boards, and they also learned some of the room wiring. Mobile hardware course where they learn the basic repairing of mobile, wherein they could they could learn to open and clean the mic and a speaker, changing of the screen guard, or also changing the display process was taught to them. They represented through a very funny mime act on stage, because mobile repairing basically could not be represented or a demo could be given. So they represented an entertainment act. Mechanical, yes, there was a huge number for mechanical course, and that is how we did not let them be in a room. We had let them be with the school mechanics throughout the bus area, wherein they learn about changing of tires, they learn about some basic knowledge of bus engine, some emergency tricks they have learned. So in future, if they're traveling in bus, if something goes wrong, they can also be a help to our bus drivers. Okay, now computer hardware. So this was guided by our IT team. So they learned about the installation of some parts like motherboard, RAM installation, the complete dismantle and assembling of CPUs they've learned. So very minute things they've learned about the CPU and the whole computer hardware. Yeah, digital marketing, one of the very interesting one, wherein the students basically they learn the digital marketing techniques. So basically they did not have something to market. So we took help of our entrepreneurship team where we could see a lot of products were being made, and they thought of their marketing will be required in future. So they collaborated with these teams, and they made interesting posters. They made interesting small little ads they've made for marketing of these products created in entrepreneurship program. Last but not the least, after culmination, we felicitated the guests, the industry experts who have helped us throughout. So we had some students, so we have given them a certificates as a trainer that they have trained our students. They were really very happy to receive a trainer certificate. It was a boost of confidence for them as well. Then we also felicitated our teachers who throughout helped us for the conduction of vocational training program. I'll just take you through one small video and then we are done.
Shireen, I think yeah, okay. Okay, the video is hanging a little bit. I think we've got an understanding. Thank you, Shireen. Over
Thank you so
to
much. Yes, over to Nidhi ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry. I'm going to be taking you through some entrepreneurship, the entire year of entrepreneurship course that we've done with the students. And we are basically, I'm going to be trying to use two devices because my computer doesn't have a device. It doesn't, have audio. Please let me know in case you are not able to listen to me. I'll try to wrap it up within 20 minutes. I'd like Shireen ma'am to present the screen and we can start thereby. When we did introduce this course, and I really didn't know where we'll land up at the end of the year, but I'm really proud to say that we've done quite a bit of work, and the students, we've got a lot of I think support from the students, the teachers, and definitely I would never be able to pull this off without my colleague Monali. She's been very, very helpful because she's actually initiated this program with me, and she's been a really good. I think she's got a very good rapport with the students, and the entire thing was made possible. It was partly because of her, definitely. Next, next. Yeah. The reason why we thought that entrepreneurship in school would be definitely very good is because of the fact that we decided that the students intended to learn to collaborate as a team. We wanted them to be able to speak in public in form of selling items because they are very hesitant to go in front of the parents to, tell them that this is what I've made. Three was to research, collect, and analyze data when we grow up, when we come to grade 10th and 9th and 11th and 12th, and appear for these competitive exams. We generally, go through all of these kind of items where critical thinking, analysis is absolutely involved, and this is one way we could actually help them start from the beginning. The use of multimedia for promotion was something which was extremely important, and this is something that they got to learn. Handling complex ideas was something which was one intention. And last, to have creativity to solve problems, to have innovation, to be able to solve problems. We'll talk about what these problems were again. Yeah, so let's see as to how it started. This part is really exciting for us. So the first step involved brainstorming and involving parents. While brainstorming involved collecting of ideas, so we started this with grade 7. This was implemented with grade 7. And we have 5 sections of grade 7th, and we came up with a lot of company ideas, like in product ideas, service ideas that the students wanted to create. So then we decided, how to pick one best out of each class. So we asked them to select the two best products, services from all the lot they come out with. So who better than the parents to actually tell them, this would work and this wouldn't. So the first thing that we ask the students to do is we ask them to do SWOT analysis. So this is what we ask the students to do. This is the SWOT analysis that they conducted for a particular product, and and it is really fun to see that they actually went ahead to research into depth. This is something that grade 11th and 12th students also struggle with. And not only that, also the companies struggle with this concept. The SWOT analysis is the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat of the product. The next, what we did was basically the next that we did was involve the parents into this process, and there's a video to show this particular aspect. Just 1 second. Are you able to see the video? No?
Not yet, Nidhi.
Yeah.
You can share it with me. Either I can present it, or maybe Ashwini के साथ भी share कर सकते हो. Yeah,
Yes.
we can see it.
Sir,
Yes,
this
we
is,
can see
yeah.
it now.
Yeah. Okay.
The audio is not audible though. If there is any audio.
So if you could see, this is the students explaining to the parents what the product is, and after which the parents were to vote for the project that they like the best, and we were to share the data of the presentation with the parents, with the students. The number of votes that each project got determined their existence in the future. So this is what we intended to do, honestly. So this, if you see this girl, she's trying to explain why, they should vote for this product and all of that. And we had almost around 20 companies at that particular point in time, where the students had they had given a prototype of the product, and the parents had to vote. Yeah. So then came in, we narrowed all the 20 companies down to 10 top companies. There were a lot of companies. We had companies such as, they were companies who made cakes and biscuits and cookies. There were companies that made decorative envelopes. There were companies that made, they had, they made these dhoop from naturally organic material. There were people who made bags. There were just so many businesses, and we came down with the top 10. The first step that we came in after developing the new businesses was defining the roles and responsibilities. So the students now were divided into two teams per class. From each class, there were two businesses that were up and running, and the team had to be decided. We didn't know who were going to be producing, we didn't know who were going to be selling. So this is something that they did. I'm showing you an organization structure of one particular company. The company was called Keria, and they produced candles. So if you see, they have decided who the CEO would be. The CPO is the Chief Production Officer. The CMO is the Marketing Officer. CFO is the Chief Finance Officer, and CHRO is the Chief Human Resource Officer. And under them, they had the entire team working for it. So the selling part was the responsibility of the Chief Marketing Officer, and the money disbursement was the part of the CFO and their team. Uh, I'm going to be showing you student meetings and MOM that the students conducted before every event. So what we decided was we got the list of the events that were going to happen in the school, and we knew that the parents and other people would come into the school at that time. So there were meetings. We discussed this with them, before Katha, yeah, before any PTM, before SLPPC, before the Golden Quadrilateral, before any of those events that we would have in the school, we'd set up stalls. So I'd like to show you a meeting. I hope the audio is running. If it is not, I will be sharing it with you guys later. So this is how the meeting takes place. Uh, just 1 minute. The audio is not running, but maybe you could just see. So the person who's standing is the CEO of the organization. This organization basically makes, they used to make colorful cakes, basically cupcakes. And this boy is basically talking to the students, telling him कि हमें इतना production चाहिए, तुम packaging में होगे, you will be getting me money. So this is the amount of money we need. This is the amount of packaging we require. This is the amount of production we require. These girls are developing, they are producing ornaments. They used to make clutches, they would make braids, they would make these items which would go in hair. There were these beautiful things that they would make. Since the audio is not visible, I'll go next. Uh, in the next document, you will be able to see an MOM. For every company that would conduct a meeting, they would put an MOM. So the MOM basically consisted of the learning outcome. What have they done? What is the meeting all about? The resources that they would need for the future event, if any, and who will complete a particular part of the discussion. If there's a discussion supposed to happen, then if there's an objective that is supposed to be met in the future, then which team is responsible to get this particular work done. Moreover, the marketing team was immediately told how they would, design the cards, they would design posters for that event. So that is something that they would take care of in that entire meeting. So these are like different companies and their different MOMs. So this is the production process. The first picture talks about the dhoop making. People are making dhoop there. And this person over here is making a braid to be worn on in the hair. The third picture is about diya making. If you see, there's no discrimination. We do not, we don't have anybody who would say that I will not make this. They were extremely excited, up and about to make all kind of products that came their way. They would not even think of, I said, this is something that the women wear. They would never think of that. In fact, they'd go pitching the hair braids to their mummies, the scrunchies to their mummies, and they would do all of those things. It was really exciting for the students. So if you see, those are the pins that the students have made. Just 1 second. And looks like the PPT is stuck. Sir, can I share my PPT with you? If you could just share this.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of questions. Shireen, maybe you can answer those questions. There's one question which says, I want to know how the activities were decided for Bagless Days. Were the students involved or teachers decided the activities? Yeah, the question is, Munmun ma'am is asking, I want to know how the activities were decided for Bagless Days. आपने activities कैसे decide करी? Were the students involved or the teachers decided the activities?
So actually, there was basically we had formed a small backlist community. committee of teachers. We also look for what NEP has to say about the Bagley's, what kind of courses are, discussed over there. So a little bit of research and suggestions from teachers. So initially students were not involved in the process. So first year when we conducted, after that, we had taken student reflection at the end. So we also got an idea from students ki ye ho sakta tha, wo ho sakta tha. So the graffiti idea had come from there. Then after that, the hotel management, a lot of new ideas in the same culinary skills we had last time, and this time we had hotel management. So some inputs for hotel management we had, right. The ramp walk idea had come from students itself. In the first this thing culmination कि हम अगर इसको ये कर रहे तो can we have a ramp walk. So the culmination ideas also this time, so most of the culmination ideas had come from students itself.
Okay, great.
Siddharji, if I may add.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Munmun, first, if you go through the NEP document, it clearly states Bagla's week for 7 days or fortnight. So when we perused through the document, and the first thing we did was to hold a staff meeting. All the teachers across the grades assembled in our math lab, and that is where we conducted the meeting. Now, it was not imposed on anybody. There were teacher volunteers. For example, our English teacher, Rita, she came forward because she is very good at jewelry making. So she took the onus that she'll craft out and support the children in creating jewelry. Bushra, she is good at fashion designing. So she took up the stitching and tailoring. Suparna, she went for embroidery. So these are some of the examples I'm giving. So in the first attempt, it was totally, the onus was taken by the teachers, whoever is good at whatever, So that is how the small baby step began. And then second year onwards, there was good involvement of the students. And last year, when it culminated, it was practically driven by the children. So there has been a good progress and transition of the Bagla's week for the last 3 years. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Another question, in fact, a very good suggestion is there in the, maybe Pushpi ma'am, you would like to respond to that in the Q&A, is we can have these on a regular basis instead of NSA, so that students can learn the skill at least for one academic year and not for just a week or few days. We can even have grades for the same in the report card as a skill-based learning. That is a suggestion that has come.
Yeah, so all the coordinators, I'm sure you would have gone through the circular sent by CBSE, wherein all these skill-based courses have been initiated for grade 9 and 10 separate, and there's a separate list for 11 and 12. So there are credits. If a particular course is undertaken by grade 9 and 10 students, and if the child has undertaken 12 to 15 sessions, then the school sends out the collated data to CBSE, and a certificate will be issued for that course. Similarly, if it is the course is undertaken.
Gautam ji, please mute kariye, Gautam ji.
And for 11 and 12, if the child has undertaken a particular course, then it could be converted into one of the optional subjects, and the credit or the paper would be for, say, 100 marks. 60 marks could be theory and 40 marks could be the written exam. And it is vice versa in some of the courses. The practical aspect is, say, of 60 marks and written is of 40 marks. So the circular from CBSE is very transparent, and schools are going ballistic in implementing that, because the NEP says that vocational courses need to be an integral part of the school system, especially from the 6th to 12th level. So we really need to look into that.
All right. So just a minute, I'm sharing my screen.
Sir, I'm presenting.
Ashwini, are you presenting?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please go to slide number 17.
Nidhi, you can still talk about it. I think the slide will come up.
Yes. What we just basically saw, the coming upcoming slides are only going to be pictures about how the people. So we used the strategy of 4 P's of marketing, which included price, place, promotion, and product. The first step was developing the product, and so basically, during their free period, some of them had SA, NSA. During their entrepreneurship period, we had a dedicated room where the students would go and they would produce the product. The finance team would kind of make calculations of the money that they have in their account right now, and they would also, like make promotion items. They would print them out, they would design them on Canva, and the HR team would actually go ahead and recruit the staff. So this was an idea that we'd actually given, but at the same time, most of it was just an idea. It was a little difficult for that to exactly happen, but the production did happen extremely well, and um, so if you could just present, I think.
Ashwini, are you sharing?
So my luck is not
Yes,
been
sir.
that great with me
Yes, sir.
today.
रुको मैं ही करता हूँ one second.
What is the issue? Even I'm not getting. मेरे यहाँ present दिख रहा है.
I'm very sorry for this actually. It wouldn't take a lot of time, honestly. So, yeah,
Can you see my screen?
no, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, now it is coming up. It's
So, I
there.
wanted to go to slide number 17.
Yeah, I am on slide 17. Okay, one second.
Yes, 17, yes. Right. So, as we'd spoken earlier, this is all about the production process and the team that was happening. So, next. This is the outcome of the production. This is where yes, to the next slide. Yeah, this is basically a pure example of division of work, and what I mean by division of work is there was a person in the school, Prashant sir, who had actually come to give us orders for soap and for candles, and he had told the production in charge about this is the amount that we need, and on the board it is the exact quantity of the different scented candles and the different scented soaps. So there was this and all of these scents were divided amongst different people. So if there's this blue aqua soap that people need to make, it was divided amongst 2 people who would just make blue aqua, and 10 batches में अगर बनते थे वो strike out होता था वहां पे. They would use number system. They would actually use the slash system that we do in statistics most of the times, and on the board it's all of that. So they were very, very particular about the manner in which the production went. So if you could just play. Sir, you're the editor, I don't know. Anyways, so this particular video was about how they made how they melted the wax, and how they kind of put colors into it, and how they put it back into the glasses, and how they went ahead with the entire production process. We have a lab in charge who actually ended up helping them, because of course they were near fire and we were a little scared for them, but I'm telling you, they really knew how to work with it. They were very careful, and these were things that were taught to them a little before they could go into the lab. So yeah, so the next, yeah. So these are some of the items that they created. This is the final product. So if you see, these are diyas, soap on the right. Niche, there are these envelopes that they would make for you, tailor make it. And in the left, they are handmade chocolates. So yeah. So the next slide. Then we taught them about branding, and so let's see if we can play this. Oh my God.
So you will have to give me access to these videos. आपके पास आया होगा email पर.
Sir, कुछ नहीं आया है. So there's no mail.
ठीक है,
It's
talk
fine.
about it.
It's fine.
Should I
I'll
present
talk
the
about.
video? I have one. Ma'am has given to me.
It's fine, ma'am. I'll just talk about this. It's fine. So, this particular video was about how they put in branding and they spoke about. So, this was during the event where they had put up stalls and how they decorated the entire stall, branding their product. So, they named their. So, this is the brand called Carrier, which had made candles. There was the best branding ever. And they were a group of girls and boys who were enthusiastic, and they made these very elite designing work done for promoting the product. And they would decorate the entire table, and it would really attract a lot of parents. ऐसे भी होता था where our coordinators would get really upset because the parents would not reach the event on time because we kept withholding them here. So those were things that really went on for a couple of months, and it kind of really motivated the students to go. So that was the branding part that we actually taught them. So the next was packaging, and these are the different kind of packaging that they kind of did for delivering it to the parents during different time. If you could see the cake over there, it did look really fancy when they put it on the table and they packed it in a box and they gave it. The boxes were also they just had like flat papers that they came in, and the boxes were created thereafter. So the next slide. We taught them about pricing, and if you see, they were pricing it like 120 rupees one soap and 70 rupees one soap, and we decided to tell them that this is not how pricing is basically done. We also did tell them that you are supposed to look at your production cost, your labor cost, if you have to pay salaries to anybody, if there are any expenses, you minus them and then you add in a little profit, because parents will not pay a lot of money, neither will your friends. And they would end up, they would then talk to their parents, they would look at the net, they would actually go through their financials, and then they decided the amount of money that they would actually put their products in, the price that they would put their products under the range. So these are some of the prizes that some of the students did learn discounting, because if you see this Just Bloom, this company till the end wasn't making a lot of money, because this is an item which a lot of people wouldn't go for some reason, and they ended up giving a 10 to 20% discount. This was like a new strategy that they actually came up with later on. So the next slide. So next, yeah. This is the favorite part I'd like to actually talk about. This part is design thinking, and I basically like to call it this because here is where the students realize that it was getting, they were just breaking even. They actually, when we looked at the financials at that time, some of them were loss making, some of them were not making profit, some of them were just breaking even. And the reason that we found out was that, so Diwali was over and Diya, jo group Diya bana raha tha, the organization that was making diyas, they were no longer functional, because honestly, they were no longer optional, because honestly Diwali had just been over and nobody was actually buying their product. As I told you earlier, the company that was selling pins, or the companies that were basically just selling some just cakes, they were becoming very redundant, they were becoming very very similar all the time, and every time the guests would come, they would not go for this over and over again, because it was becoming the same thing. And design thinking was all about how they could change the product midway, innovating this product. And here is where we took a chance to collaborate with the vocational course. There were some courses in the vocational courses list wherein we collaborated with Shireen Man's team, and we went ahead, we sent some of the students to um, hotel management to learn cookies, bake some, breads, salads, just to diversify their products. We sent some students to learn jewelry making, and they came up with like different kind of articles. Also, we collaborated with so the Zoop team, they were doing extremely well. We tried to collaborate with the Dia team, because the Dia team really did not have, product to be made. And we asked them to make dhoop stands for us. So they intercollaborated within the teams itself, jahan pe they were able to give us these small mud made stands to place the dhoop in. And second collaboration was with the bag team, the company that made bags. We all the other product teams collaborated with the bag team, and they said, please make bags for this size and this size, because we'd like to sell our products in your bag. So inter collaboration bhi kafi hue. The next coming slides, we'll talk about how the collaboration with the bagless happened. So these girls, if you can see here, these girls are from the entrepreneurship team, and they are from the Blooms company. They used to make hairpins before, but after learning vocational with Shireen ma'am's team of the jewelry design, they started making these designs as well. So they had a diversified option of product. This is my favorite team. They did most of the work. This is the digital marketing team. They helped us to make websites. They helped us make products, promotion. They helped us do posters. And this is my favorite team because we ended up sending these websites to a lot of people. So the next slide. This is the hotel management team. All they knew was to make. All they knew was how to make simple cakes. Now they'd actually learned to make cookies, naan khatai, and things like that. And they actually did extremely well. They in fact had the highest profit because khana kise pasand nahi hai. So they made the extreme profit. In the end, we basically taught them how to promote the product. And so they designed websites with the help of the other team. We had visiting cards. We had posters and creatives given out to the parents or to the guests who came in. So this is how the homepage of the website looked like. They had 4 companies listed. The minute you click on the companies, you go to the next page. This is how the further pages look like. And it is so beautifully designed that they'd actually gotten a lot of orders after this as well. And this is where we culminated the event through an annual general meet. We wanted to make it really, really formal. Hence, we started deciding how to culminate the event. And the first thing, because we kept it on a Monday and we didn't know, how many parents would turn up in the evening. And we really wanted the parents to see the hard work put in by the students all around the year. And this is something that we got the students to write. We asked them to write a letter to their parents, inviting them to come to school to see the work that they've done over the entire year. And they also shared the learnings, their reflections with their parents. So I'd like to read a particular learning. The number 3, it talks about accepting customer criticism. I think this is a very important part because all the time, nobody likes to hear negative comments or negative or constructive criticisms, as we like to call it, for their product or something that they've done, because they've put in so much of effort. Nobody wants to listen to it. But I think over time they kind of managed to understand that, when we work through the constructive criticism, it would, make them better in the work that they are doing. So this is one really good letter that they had written. We'd actually called in two young entrepreneurs who could share their experiences and could answer the questions of the students. And this was the finale. So the last slide, next slide. Here is a picture of a student, and he is presenting his balance sheet and profit and loss account. And it was really impressive to see that the students have learned to make a proper balance sheet and a P&L account, which actually takes people years to make, honestly. And it was a very basic account that they decided to make. But at the end, and we also, gave trophies to the winners, which kind of motivated them. But it was really fun to see who in the end made a lot of profit. And this is how we took off the entire program over the year. And I'm really proud of the way it went. So that'll be all. I'm very sorry for the interruptions in the middle. Yes. So over to you.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you, Nidhi and Shireen, for sharing your work. I think the entrepreneurship was something very, very interesting, and it was a very novel concept for everyone. The parents really, really enjoyed the entire process, and they couldn't, stop speaking about it. Whenever they met anybody, they just couldn't stop speaking about it. But one of the very good things about what happened here was how the Bagless Days and the entrepreneurship program collaborated. So you saw that दो तीन कंपनियां जो स्ट्रगल कर रही थी उनको लर्निंग दी गई ज्वेलरी डिजाइन में भेज करके, या उनको लर्निंग दी गई फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी या डिजिटल मार्केटिंग में भेज करके कि यू enhance your skill there, and then you can go on and improve what your company is doing. So it was very, very nice. This was the first year that I think this happened. There were, I'm sure, a lot of learnings and struggles that that Nidhi has shared with me, which she will be looking to improve as we go forward in the coming year. But I think it was a beautiful experience for the kids. जो अभी आपने ये भी पढ़ा, जो बच्चे का एक रिफ्लेक्टिव, एवरी चाइल्ड मेड दैट लेटर to note ki bhai, what are my learnings from this year, 3 learnings that I had from this year. If a child is writing that I have learned how to accept customer criticism, I think that is something that I have not learned to accept till now. So if a child is writing that, बहुत ही मतलब it's a very, very big thing to say. So I think well done to Nidhi and Shireen for this work. Well done to Monali for this work. This was an idea that we had just discussed, and an idea is an idea, but it only becomes great once we actually implement it. I'm really excited how this really unfolds when on the entrepreneurship program gets implemented in Varanasi and Nagpur. So I'm really, really excited and looking forward to that. Pushpi ma'am, would you like to share some of your thoughts? What have parents shared with you about Bagless Days and entrepreneurship? Some places where you felt the team struggled, some learnings that you've had as a school.
So the first thing is, whenever we plan out anything for children, our focus is what is going to be the learning outcome, and the learning outcomes have been immense. Children have really, shaped their personalities. The confidence levels have gone up, and somewhere we have kindled that fire in them, the appetite for trying to be entrepreneurs. They have learned from their mistakes, and whenever these exhibitions were being put up, when I would interact with the children, there was so much of clarity in their mind. So it was kind of amazing, because even at this age, many a times I go blank. But these 7th graders, they were absolutely clear what they wanted. So somewhere the mentoring by Nidhi and Monali happened so beautifully and in a crystal clear manner that it was evidently and visibly transacted to the children also. So there was immense learning for the children, which is a real good sign for any school. The purpose and the vision with which it was initiated, we could see the goal achieved. Yes, in the journey there will be ups and downs, and we always learn from our mistakes and what went wrong, and that reflection is a must, so that when we are doing it for the next time round, we overcome our mistakes and we are able to implement it in a much better way. But still, I would say it was a real great initiative and very well executed by the girls. Really nice.
Superb, superb. So anybody has, I think we've overshot by 10 minutes, last couple of minutes. Anybody has any questions on this? Ashwini has also put up a feedback form. Please fill that up. Anybody has any questions? I've had a couple of questions. I think we've answered those questions. Also, what we did throughout the year was स्कूल में जितने भी लोग आए, जितने भी programs हुए, सब में these were the gifts that were given to people, and the school promoted these companies. So every gift के साथ में there was a letter that was given which had websites of all the companies, which had the contact numbers of all the companies. The teachers, each and every teacher, I believe, promoted the student companies also. So I think these would be some things to keep in mind as DPS Varanasi and Nagpur also implements the entrepreneurship and the bagless days in the coming year, right? Great. Ashwini, you have any other announcement?
Sir, I have to present the video.
Yes, go ahead. Let's see the video.
No,
Great
sir,
work
no
done.
announcement.
Great work done, Nidhi and Shireen. Thank you for your presentation. Wonderful job. Ma'am, we've seen this. The next one maybe. Nidhi, any specific video that you want them to see?
I actually, yeah. So this one is during the Katha festival, and they had set up stalls. I think those videos that I taken are not shared with her, I think.
What also happened because of the introduction of entrepreneurship was even students of grade 3 and 2 were selling something or the other. I remember buying a badge from a student of grade 2, okay, and that badge was just, he had made that badge on a piece of paper और उसमें DPS का logo उसने बनाया था, and that child of grade 2 sold me a badge for 5 rupees. So even a grade 2 child started thinking of a business because of entrepreneurship being implemented in school. I remember another child in grade 9, he came and said that in my farm there are a lot of fishes, okay, and छोटी जो fishes होती हैं जो कमल के pond में डालते हैं वो गप्पी fish बोलते हैं उसको, तो मेरे farm में बहुत सारी गप्पी fish हैं और वो reproduce करती हैं. तो उसने बोला कि क्या सर मैं गप्पी fish को sell करके business बना सकता हूँ क्या अपना, so in the entire school, there was a dialogue around how can I run my business in the school? As a child, how can I run my business? I think that was very, very unique to see.
So the video that is being played is basically talking about, it's just how they are, making the product in the chemistry lab. We had hoarded the chemistry lab for a couple of weeks. And this girl standing here is the CEO, and it was just the entire melting process and pouring process and coloring it. But yes, so this was the video that I wanted to show. I think that's all.
Great. Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you for joining in. Sorry for overshooting the time. Take care. Have a good weekend.